And for example, when you work as a practitioner, do you talk to the leaders of a company saying, can we check whether we have the design competence and the understanding of relationships and cultural competence on board, and those who will be responsible for the play we want to develop, do they understand enough? And if not, and they hire providers from outside, do they have an understanding of how they will relate and co-work with each other?
I probably don't do it that clearly, but that is what I'm looking for. So actually the first thing I'm paying attention to when I work with a new leader is, are they a learner?
Oh, okay.
Right. Are they willing, are they interested, are they open to new ideas? Are they willing to put their ideas on the table and have other people critique it? Do they seek feedback? How do they respond to disconfirming information? Because if they're not a learner, the rest of it's not going to work, right? It's like.
And if you don't have somebody who is not enough a learner for the kind of big enterprise he's trying to do, what do you do then?
Leave.
Yeah, that's an option, certainly. But sometimes maybe you also could tell him, see, for what you want to do, I'm the expert on having an idea what you need.
Yeah.
And I see some competencies, resources, and time.
I've tried. I've run into, and usually where that's happened is I'm working in an organization where I have a sponsor who is a learner, and then I'm in some part of the organization where there's a need for some work, and the person who's in charge of that part of the organization is not a learner, and I've tried, I've come at them different ways. Can I help them think about it this way, think about it? It never works out. It's never ever worked out for me, so I've kind of given up.
Also, you do something, what we call maturity check.
Okay.
And this is a check of the individual who wants to drive a project. And it's also the maturity of the organization, because this person needs many others who are experienced in developing something if this person wants to do something big. And sometimes my colleagues don't like that. If you have to check maturity, and if you are, for example, if you climb a mountain, if you are not prepared, it's dangerous to try it. You will fail, and it's important to as a first step to check with people whether they are prepared to climb as high as they want to climb.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. Like I don't need the work, right? So I've got a real job. I get paid and well as a professor, so I can in a way decide who I'm going to work with, and some people it's just not, I can just tell right away. And by and large, they don't hire me anyway. There's a little dance there.
Not matching.
Yeah, so it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, that's true for you when you work as a consultant. We work as an academy, and so we have many people from companies.
Right, and you get people who...
and they say, oh, I'm a learner.
You need to fix this person.
And I hope to be a learner, but when I get back to my company, it will be difficult. And so we sometimes have a hard time because they feel under pressure. They promised performance, and they slowly have to find out they are, as a person, not competent. They do not have the role to bring this performance, and the organization is not mature enough. And then what to do, because a training program not fix that.
No, that's right.
And so sometimes we have
So I learned that when so about 15 years ago, I started something that was quite different for me, this training program called Clear Leadership, which is, it's sort of a personal growth program disguised as a skill building program. And as we started taking it into organizations, what I discovered, and it was kind of like a blinding flash of the obvious, is that every organization has a leadership culture. And if you're trying to teach people to show up differently at work, they're not going to be comfortable showing up differently at work if the cultural assumption is, no, you're supposed to show up this way, not that way. So at the same time as you're trying to change how people show up as leaders, you also need to be working on changing the culture of the organization.
Right.
Yeah. And and that's what I found is like trying to change the culture of the organization through coming in through the middle and training a bunch of people and how to think differently doesn't usually lead to a lot of change, and not very rapidly. I mean, it can be...
It's a small change.
Yeah, it can be water, like, a little water torture. I have
Yeah.
some client systems now. I've been doing clear leadership for over a decade, and there is noticeable change, but nothing like other client systems where the senior leadership embraced this as a philosophy, right? And then we did the cultural work down the side at the same time as we're doing the training. And then we'd see, some massive transformation in a couple of years.
So you are very modest and tell people what they can expect.
Yeah.
And you are not dependent financially on that.
No, and I think that's one of the things I noticed early in my career. Everybody who I thought was a really good OD consultant, they had a separate source of income. They had something else, so they could always say no. They weren't dependent.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, because I think it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to do this kind of work when you need the work. Yeah. To be able to look at a client and say, you're not ready.
Right.
What you're doing is wrong.
And it's important not to invest at the points in society where it's hardest, because it's hard enough to build up good examples under conditions that are positive.
Yeah.